This is a review for the Hoover SmartWash. The SmartWash's sealed suction at the base was measured at 90 inches of water lift. It was measured at 83 inches at the hose. These are both well above average results. The SmartWash's unsealed suction at the nozzle was measured at 1.99 kPa. This is also an above average result. This carpet cleaner uses two large brush rolls to agitate and wash carpet. Its cleaning path was measured to be 10.5 inches wide. To start our upright stain test, I first push and pull the SmartWash quickly in place a few times to prime its system with soap and water. I then push forward over the stains. During this forward push, the SmartWash automatically dispenses soap and water. I don't have to hold down a trigger to do so. The SmartWash also automatically maximizes extraction on the backward pull. We do see some progress cleaning up the stains after two back and forth passes, though there's still quite a bit of tomato sauce, peanut butter, and chocolate ice cream staining left over after 3 passes. I paused the test briefly to empty the SmartWash's dirty water tank and refill its clean tank with soap and water after 5 passes. I resumed the test to complete another 5 back and forth passes. During these 5 passes, you'll see the SmartWash clean up most of the peanut butter and chocolate ice cream stains, though it does leave behind some light tomato sauce staining. The tomato sauce result is about average. Most competitors also left behind some light staining after 10 complete back and forth passes. The peanut butter and chocolate ice cream results are both worse than average. Moving on to the bottom lane, the SmartWash cleans the urine stain on the far right very quickly. It's almost clean after only 1 back and forth pass. Now, during these first few passes, some of the chocolate syrup spreads to the point where it's really difficult to judge the urine stain at all. But we are going to call it completely clean after 2 back and forth passes. Rewinding to the start of the test, you can see how the grape juice stain on the far left also cleans up very quickly. It's almost clean after 1 pass and completely clean after 2 back and forth passes. The syrup stains to the right take a bit more work. There's quite a bit of caramel syrup and especially chocolate syrup staining left over after 3 passes. The caramel syrup stain is almost gone after 4 passes, though there's some stubborn debris that's not completely cleaned up until 6 back and forth passes. The SmartWash is never able to fully clean up the central part of the chocolate syrup stain. There's still some staining left over even after 10 back and forth passes. Adding up the total number of passes it took to clean each stain that was actually cleaned up completely, and accounting for the lightness of stains that were left over after 10 passes, this is the total score for the SmartWash in this test compared to all of the other carpet cleaners we've tested. As you can see, it did not perform well in this test. So why did this happen? Well, first we need to talk again about how the SmartWash dispenses and extracts soap and water when it cleans. Recall, it automatically dispenses soap and water on the forward push. When it does, wash illuminates on the side of the cleaner. It also automatically pulls up water, soap, and debris on the backward pull. When it does, dry illuminates on the side of the cleaner. The problem is that the SmartWash only automatically dispenses water and soap on the forward push if it's pushed above a minimum threshold of speed, if it's pushed fast enough. Unfortunately, the standard push speed we use for this test for all carpet cleaners is very slow, and at this slow pace, the SmartWash would sometimes toggle back to dry mode even on the forward push. This definitely impacted its performance in this test. Now, we also tested it at a higher speed on which it stayed on wash mode throughout each forward push, and we pushed it back and forth 20 times for this test. But as you'll see over the next several back and forth passes, it still leaves behind some tomato sauce, peanut butter, and even a small amount of chocolate syrup residue in this test. Do we think the SmartWash would have gotten better results in our original top and bottom lane tests if it never switched to dry mode on the forward push? Yes, we do. Do we think it would have gotten significantly better results based on this mid lane result? No, we don't think so. Back to the end of the bottom lane test, we also checked the moisture level of the carpet in this area of the bottom lane after this test. This spot gave a reading of about 28% on the moisture meter. This is a slightly wetter than average result. We then made 3 back and forth passes over this bottom row on dry only mode to see how much we could dry up the carpet with the SmartWash. After doing so, we took another reading on the moisture meter. This time it gave a reading of about 24%. This is a slightly drier than average result, meaning dry mode is very effective on the SmartWash. Now, before we even started our upright stain test, we also measured the exact volume of water and cleaning solution mix we added to its clean water tank and its solution tank. We measured the volume of this mix again after 5 passes. We can use this data and the total area the cleaner covered during those 5 passes to calculate how many ounces of water and soap the SmartWash uses per square foot of coverage. Dividing this number by the total volume of these tanks and adjusting for our test speed, we get an estimated area of coverage for one clean tank. And for the SmartWash, that area is 360 square feet. Based on how quickly it filled up during testing, we can also roughly estimate the SmartWash's area of coverage before you need to empty its dirty water tank. We estimate you can get over 300 square feet of coverage before needing to empty the dirty tank of this cleaner with everyday cleaning speed. The caveat being, of course, that all of these numbers are calculated with the SmartWash repeatedly switching to dry mode on the forward push during testing. So definitely take these numbers with a grain of salt. When it comes to general ease of use, removing and replacing the clean water tank is easy to do. Note that this model also comes equipped with a separate solution tank. You would normally fill this tank with soap and the water tank with water, but we just filled both tanks with pre-mixed soap and water for our testing. Removing and replacing the dirty water tank is also easy to do, and so is cleaning it. This whole top part also comes off for easy emptying and cleaning. The front nozzle of the cleaner also comes off, and both brush rolls are easily removable, so you can rinse these parts under a tap and clean the compartment around the brush rolls very easily. Finally, we also tested the SmartWash's spot cleaning performance. The model we bought for review included an 8-foot-long hose and this 2-in-1 pet tool, which I used for this test. I start off the test spraying the tomato sauce stain with a standard mix of water and soap. I then scrub the stain for several seconds, before angling the tool forward to maximize extraction for 3 more back and forth passes. This comprises one cleaning cycle. I repeat this cycle several more times. This is midway through the second cycle, and we now jump ahead to the end of the fourth cycle. As you can see, there's still some light staining left over after 4 cycles. Moving on to the peanut butter stain, I repeat the same process as before, spraying, scrubbing, and extracting to complete one cleaning cycle. We now jump ahead again to the end of the 4th cycle, and this time there's little to no staining left over. We are going to go ahead and call this stain completely clean after 4 cycles. Finally, we have the chocolate ice cream stain. Again, I follow the same process as before. This is the end of the 1st cycle, and this time we jump ahead to the end of the 5th cycle. There's again very little to no staining left behind, this time after 5 cycles. Overall, the SmartWash was one of the best spot cleaners we tested. Summarizing what we like and dislike about the Hoover SmartWash, this carpet cleaner has very high measured suction at the base, the hose, and the nozzle. It has a very wide cleaning path, and it doesn't use a lot of water to clean, so you can use it over a large area before you need to refill its clean tank or empty its dirty water tank. It's also very easy to clean itself. We especially like how easy it is to remove its brush rolls, and it's a very good spot cleaner. The SmartWash was in fact one of the best performers in our spot cleaning test. On the negative side of things, the SmartWash generally did not perform well in our upright stain test. It took much longer than average to clean the peanut butter and chocolate ice cream stains, and it was one of only a handful of models that could not completely clean the chocolate syrup stain after 10 passes. It also leaves carpet wetter than average after regular cleaning, if you don't run it on dry mode after you clean. When it comes to general recommendations, we generally do not recommend the Hoover SmartWash. The Hoover Power Scrub doesn't automatically dispense soap and water on the forward push. You have to manually hold down a trigger to do so, but the Power Scrub performed much better in our upright stain testing. It also leaves carpet much drier after regular cleaning. Still has a very large area of coverage before you need to refill or empty its tanks. And it's substantially cheaper than the SmartWash, both at regular retail price and on sale. And so we would recommend the Power Scrub over the SmartWash based on our testing. See the description for a link to check the current pricing for the SmartWash and for the Power Scrub, and for a link to the latest updated list of all of the carpet cleaners we recommend. And thank you for watching.